Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, was back in the news this week because a federal judge ruled it unconstitutional. The left's going to do what the left does, the right's going to do what the right does, but nobody's going to tell you this truth as clearly as they should. When Obamacare was passed, it brought forth an individual mandate. An individual mandate is a requirement by law for certain persons to purchase or otherwise obtain a good or service. In simpler terms, this means the government is allowed to force you to buy something. Before Obamacare, you could just not buy insurance and not get a fine, but they needed an individual mandate to fund it. It's basically financial enslavement. It's the opposite of freedom. It's give me your money or we're going to take your money anyway. It really bothered me when all I heard was amazing press, when this individual mandate cost me $8,000 over the course of a few years for a plan that I couldn't use, and to be honest, couldn't really afford. There's tens of millions of working class families just like me who are affected very negatively by this bill. After all, it's give me your money, you have to buy this, or I'm gonna take some money anyway. It's pretty crazy. So I asked people, how much money did Obamacare drain from your bank account? My wife and I's premium doubled, and our coverage was cut in half, all in the name of free healthcare for the poor that ultimately just made the middle class poorer. At least $3,000. It was the top 3 reasons why I voted for Trump. Still, best decision I ever made was voting for him. I owe him my vote for repealing the individual mandate alone. I didn't even vote for Trump, but when I found out what the individual mandate was, and that was the reason that I was getting scammed out of thousands of dollars, I was thankful too. I thought that's just the way it was. I had no idea that Obama forced that onto hardworking and young Americans. It tripled my ex-wife's rate for her and our kids. How many good, prudent, well-set-up families had to restructure their budgets and lives for this absolutely absurd bit of legislation? The thought of it makes my blood boil. It harmed more than it helped by at least 100 to 1. I paid almost $5,000 in fines for not being able to afford Obamacare. That was still cheaper than the $12,000 a year my premiums would have been for my age. So they got nothing for $5,000 because they couldn't afford the $12,000. Does that sound like it's helping the hardworking people of America to you? Of course not. The news has been lying to your face and covering this up. All these stories are true. I know because I haven't had insurance either for the past 8 years because I can't afford it anymore. Single mother of 3 with 2 kids, college age, kids still on my insurance. Deductible went from $1,000 to $6,000 per person. Pharmacy is now tied to my deductible as well, so I pay full boat. Premiums went from $450 a month to $1,150 a month. 2 choices for insurance companies if I want a PPO. What a sham. I ended up paying the fines because it was cheaper than healthcare that I knew I could never use because of the high deductibles. And WTF is co-insurance. I felt like I was being robbed. There's many more stories like this, including people who almost or had to lose their house because of it. If you don't believe me, just read some stories in the comment section of this video. I'm sure thousands of people are going to share them. It really bothered me because I felt like I was being financially raped. For most of my young adult life, I wanted to use that money for massages, chiropractic work. My back really hurts, especially because I do a lot of computer and phone work. I wanted to use it for organic foods. Maybe a little break and relaxation since I hadn't had vacation the entire decade. I couldn't really afford it, and I couldn't justify it. But I couldn't afford any of these things because the government decided the way to help my health was to take $2,000 to $4,000 a year for a plan that I literally couldn't use. I went to the doctors 5 or 6 times, and every single time I saved $0 over the course of 3 years. I saved $0 and I paid around $8,000. And if I didn't pay, they were still going to take my money. This didn't in any way, shape, or form help my health. It negatively affected my health. I had no freedom of choice. And I'm lucky because I'm young. I didn't even have the worst of it. So many families lost tens of thousands of dollars for worse care that they couldn't use. Literally a lose-lose-lose with the government lurking over your shoulders saying, if you don't pay for this health insurance, we're going to take money anyway. So why doesn't the media tell you this? Why doesn't Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tell you this? That their healthcare is not free, it's not coming from the universe, and it's going to crush the average family and the working class family, and the young healthy kid who might want to save $10,000 by not purchasing flimsy insurance for a few years. Even with all our flaws, that's what makes this country great. Freedom. Freedom of speech. Freedom to choose. Freedom to protect yourself. As someone who's been liberal my entire life, these are all of the things that the normal establishment liberal left to the progressive far left-wing I'm so woke left wants to take away from me. They want to force me by taxes or individual mandate to buy insurance that I probably don't want, can't use, is only going to get worse over time, is only going to get more expensive over time. It's like a financial ticking time bomb that you can't get out of because there's an individual mandate. When Trump became president, he got rid of the individual mandate. He was very, very happy about this, as was I, as were millions of people. But the news never covered it because they don't care about me and they don't care about millions of people. They just like to act like they care as long as it can push their agenda. And in this case, their agenda meant financially ruining millions of working class families. The progressive left wants to tax and raise healthcare prices even more. It's like if they said, oh, millions of people don't drive. We want everybody to drive, so give us your money or we're going to take your money. I'm sorry, I don't like it. Especially when I prefer to take care of my own health. I've taken a good look at the health industry. I'm very, very appreciative and grateful for Western medicine and the amazing breakthroughs that we've done over the last couple decades. But I don't fully trust the entire system, and I would love to have an extra $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to take care of my own health, preventative, instead of just taking my money, forcing me to buy a plan I don't want, and factory farming me like an animal through a system that of course is going to get worse and more expensive, just like it did under Obamacare. And I'm so sick and tired of the debate being, I care so much more than you. Millions of people are going to die and lose their care if I don't get my way. What they're really saying is, give me your money, or I'm going to take more money, or I'm going to take more money, or else I'm going to say you're a terrible person who wants everybody to die. And somehow they own the moral high grounds. Even though the trusted liberal news published an opinion piece recently putting human extinction in a positive light. So the people who publish articles putting human extinction, the death of all humans, in a positive light, somehow want to pressure us and bully us and make us feel like they're so much superior to us when it comes to compassion and morality that we shouldn't even have a voice. But guess what? We do. And this is the truth about Obamacare, Bernie Sanders care, and Alexandria Ocasio universal health care. The individual mandate is necessary to steal people's money, to force them to give money for things that they might not want, to afford these multi-trillion-dollar plans that are just going to keep going up and up because they don't have the money for it. They're not taking out a loan. They're taking your money to fund their own ideals because it's super expensive and it's super ineffective. Thank you for listening. Thank you for considering. Even if you prefer universal health care or you see the positives in Obamacare, at least just consider what I'm saying and understand why millions of people, including myself, don't like the individual mandate that left-wing politicians are so desperate to put into place. Check out some stories in the comments section if you're truly as loving and caring and compassionate about women and children and families of every race, religion, and gender in America as you say you are. Check it out and see for yourself. That's my story. There's millions of others. Have an amazing Christmas season and holiday season. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America, and God bless the world. Hopefully 2019 can be a year that we all come together and we all can make the world a little bit better. Have a good one.